Hey guys, welcome back to the Comic Book Lowdown. I'm Wellington, and this is where I review comic books and comic book story arcs. Today is another one of my pull week review videos where I review the books that I read this past week. And to start off with is Cyberforce from Image Comics. This is issue 1 of it, and they were giving these out for free at my comic book store, and they have them for free on Comixology and everything like that. So I was asked if I wanted it. Said yes, of course, because it's free, and who can pass down something that's free, right? Well, after reading it, I wish I would have passed it down, even though it was free. Because honestly, for #1 issue, I don't understand anything that's happening in this book. Not a thing about it. It starts off with this girl that you find out like halfway, maybe more towards the end of the book, what her actual name is. Her name happens to be Karen, and it starts off it's foreshadowing. It starts off with her in a like water. She's like I don't even know what she's doing, but she had just gone through something traumatic, I guess, and then she takes you through the story as she's talking with somebody. She's talking to somebody, like thinking it, but you never find out who she's talking to. It's just type of thought bubbles talking to each other, and you can tell one is hers because it's like green, and she happens to have a lot of green on her, so you just suspect that it's her, and it's the voice, and you just know it's her. But then there's another one that is just asking questions the whole time. You never find out who it is, or even have an idea of who it is, so there's one thing I don't like. But then it gets to the story, and then she's being chased by these big things that look like that. Probably get a better picture of it. Try to find an up close one. They kind of look like they look like that yellowish thing. That's the girl's dog that eventually gets killed, and she seems pretty upset about her dog being killed. But like, you don't feel for her at all. You don't feel for any of the characters in this book that have no emotional value to them. They're just there and they're just talking. And I read this last night, and I was falling asleep. I was falling asleep throughout this whole book. But anyways, she finds like a society of people. If I haven't mentioned already, those things that were chasing her were shock troopers or shock troops or something. And then she finds like the society of people of shock troops that weren't worthy enough. So they're like half human looking, half shock troop looking, and it's kind of gross on some of these things, but it's just dumb. And all the society of people that she found, they're like really hostile towards her because she happens to be the daughter of the chairwoman of Pittsburgh or something. This takes place in Pittsburgh, I think. I have no idea. I'm guessing they say Pittsburgh in this more than once, so I'm guessing it's in Pittsburgh, but it looked nothing like Pittsburgh. But I guess this is supposed to be in the future, and everything is turned to crap, and she's part of, I guess, like a higher class family, but she's on the run, and on the run for I don't know what, or from I don't know what, and she's looking for some guy named Morgan Stryker. Never find out. Well, you might have found out who was in this, but I was just so bored. I probably didn't even pay attention. They give you like a peek, or she talks about why she left her 16th birthday party, because I don't know, but you see that her mom is like all she's not like a good mother. She doesn't pay attention to her daughter. She's just all about like impressing other people with things. There's, I guess, the bad guys are looking for her or something. And, yeah, I don't get this. In fact, there's like a sneak peek at the second issue of this, and I didn't even read the sneak peek. I couldn't even do it. Like, throughout this book, I would read a page and then check how many pages I would have left to read because I was just so bored. And even worse about this is that they try to like tackle issues that happen in the world now in this book, but they do it so late in the book and it has no relevance towards anything pretty much, and it's just, well, actually it does. It has relevance of how the world got to the way it is now in this issue, but it's just a way of trying to tack on real issues to something that is not worth your time. And I would say it's not worth your money, but it's free, so. But it's not even worth being free. It's just dumb. Unless you like art. And if you like art, the art on this book is actually good. It's by Khoi Pham. If you don't know Khoi Pham, he does the art for Scarlet Spider right now, and so his art is pretty good. I really like his art in Scarlet Spider, and I like the art in this book, but the story just is not there. And I can just tell you right now, I'm never going to pick up another issue of this. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1. This is a 1. So there's that. Next issue. Oh, I'm so sorry to put this so low on my top of my count, my list. This is so low, and this is Venom issue 26, part 3 of Minimum Carnage, and this issue was just not great. It was not. I've been supporting Cullen Bunn for as long as I can so far, but just the direction that this story has gone to, it's just not the Carnage story I was looking for. I was waiting for a Carnage story throughout the whole Remender run, and I finally, when I found out about this, I'm thinking that this is going to be awesome. And the first two, Minimum Carnage Alpha was great. The Scarlet Spider issue was cool. It had some cool elements to it, but then this is just it's just not that good. And the story is alright. In some parts you can tell that Bunn is trying to channel the voice for Flash that he's trying to do, but it seems to be trying too hard. He's making references to Peter Parker in this, and like it doesn't seem naturally coming out if you can see what it is. And just the art in this is really bad, and of course it's by Declan Chauvet, and if you remember, in one of my older videos I was reviewing the final issue of Venom from Rick Remender, and it was the art by the same person, and I didn't like the art back then for this, and they still draw Venom bad, and on top of that they draw Scarlet Spider bad, or Chauvet draws Scarlet Spider and Venom really bad. But at least he can draw Carnage. The way he draws Carnage is really good, though. I'll give him that. Like, there's his Carnage, and that's the high point of the art in this. Whenever you see Carnage, it's good art, but when you see Venom or Scarlet Spider, it's just not good. And there's like there's not too much that goes on for Venom. This is the Venom book, and more stuff happens for Scarlet Spider than happens for Venom. I'm more interested in the Scarlet Spider things than what happens to Venom in this. If you remember in the last Scarlet Spider issue, Scarlet Spider was, at the end of it, he was, him and the Redeemer, is I think what they're calling him. There was an old man that he was next to. Yeah, they call him the Redeemer. And you find out a little bit about him, that he's a healer. He just heals people and heals things. And, so there's the monster at the end of the Scarlet Spider issue. And then, Kane is gonna go fight. He fights the monster. Of course he wins. But, Carnage does some, pretty nasty things to, the Society of Little People. I forgot their names. But he does some pretty nasty stuff to him just because he wants to be unpredictable. But if you read the issue, you could see it coming. And so he was pretty predictable. Again, just the art in this issue is not that good. Or not good at all, actually. I was kind of bored watching this too. Or not watching, I was bored reading this. And, but the last page is pretty cool. Got a cool shot of Carnage. That's it. If I had to put this on a scale on the Venom issues, might be one of the worst ones that I've read. And it hurts me to say that because I loved Venom so much. And when Remender was writing it, I would defend it, saying that it is one of the best comics that Marvel's putting out. But I don't know, maybe not anymore. I have to give it a 2 out of 5. But next issue, next comic we have, it's on my computer. Justice League number 13. This was pretty cool. It finally continues on with Wonder Woman and Superman kissing that happened like 2 months ago. I don't even remember the last time that we showed the actual Justice League because we've been doing so much with Shazam, and it's kind of taken up a lot of time with that. But it goes into detail about that, and this is a very character-driven issue. After they show a little recap of Wonder Woman and Superman kissing, it just cuts to Wonder Woman and she's fighting the Cheetah. And I'm not a big DC guy or Wonder Woman person or Justice League person, but I do like this run on the Justice League. So I don't know the Cheetah, but it goes through her history a little bit, and that how she and Wonder Woman were once friends, and how that she was possessed by the Queen or something. But none of that is important. But there's some cool action in this. There's a lot of character-driven dialogue in this between Wonder Woman and the Cheetah while they're having a fight. And then there's a lot of story between Wonder Woman and Superman. There's a heart-to-heart with Flash and Cyborg in this. Batman and Aquaman, they kind of just they go to the hospital because if you remember, Steve Trevor or Colonel Steve Trevor's in the hospital after the run-in with Grimes or Graves, the last bad guy. These come out for so long that I kind of just forget people's names. But after the run-in with that guy, Colonel Steve Trevor was put in the hospital, and so now Batman and Aquaman go over there and they kind of just tell him that you're not to be the liaison for the Justice League anymore, pretty much. And so there's there's that for Steve Trevor. There's a little bit of story that Wonder Woman presents about her and Steve, and just not a lot of there's good action parts in this, and then there's good story parts in this, and at the end there's or at least the end of the first story. New 52, I guess, is putting 2 stories on all their comics, but at the end of the first story, the Justice League decides to help Wonder Woman bring back the cheetah and help her and do all that kind of stuff, and so they go to the woods, or not the woods, they go to the forest, and they go hunting for the cheetah, but she attacks them, and eventually something really shocking happens to Superman, and I'm not going to give away that, but it's on a full page right at the end of the story, and it looks pretty great. The art is pretty great on it, but it's like a scary thing to happen to Superman. And but the next story that they have is just a Steve Trevor story, pretty much about him. He finally gets to leave the hospital, and how his life is all changing now because of him not being in the liaison anymore. And so he goes to a bar pretty much, and then Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, shows up, and they have a talk about some stuff, and they decide that they're gonna go on a mission together, or at least that Green Hornet is being sent on a mission for something what was it? It has a mission that the Justice League hasn't taken up yet. So Green Arrow's gonna, I keep wanting to say Green Hornet. Green Arrow's gonna goes on that mission, and then oh yeah, Oliver Queen finds something that they don't really know what it is, but and that's why Oliver Queen goes on the. This isn't a good review of this issue, but it is a good issue. And at the end, they kind of they tell you right out that this story, this Oliver Queen and Steve Trevor story, is going to be continued in Justice League of America #1. So not just Justice League, but Justice League of America #1. If I have to grade this issue, 3.5. It wasn't bad. It was pretty good. Next issue I have is a one-shot, Marvel Zombies Halloween. I read this just curious because I've heard the Marvel Zombies is a pretty good story. They just released the omnibus of it, and it's huge. They have it at my comic store, and it's heavy as, oh my god, it's so heavy. But this issue, one-shot issue, so you don't really need to know anything about anything really, and it's so good. It's a completely character-driven issue. Just a mom and her son fighting to survive in the zombie world. You know, it's pretty much that they have the routine under control of how they survive. But it's getting close to Halloween time, and the son he's never celebrated Halloween before because he's pretty much born into the mess of the Marvel Zombies, and he's never had a Halloween before, and he begs his mom to celebrate because his mom explains to him about what Halloween is like and what you do and everything like that. And so, being a little kid, he really wants to celebrate it, and so, you know, there's costumes and candy and trick-or-treating and all that kind of stuff. And they have this cat, a black cat that they call Blackie, that they find in the wall of the house that they live in, and it plays an important part later in this. But so it's just a really nice story. His mom eventually just gives in to his request to celebrate Halloween, even though it's dangerous, seeing as they live in a zombie-infested world. But she gives in, and they find a Wolverine costume. They find a Wolverine costume, and the kid, he says, why couldn't they find a Spider-Man costume instead? But his mom explains that that the Wolverine costume belonged to somebody who was a real hero too, and so it's all good with that. And then this cat named Blackie, he's just like, his mom, the little kid's mom tells the little kid that that he needs to keep an eye on the cat, because if he doesn't, it's gonna get away. And so he doesn't keep an eye on it, and it gets away, and so it gets outside somehow, and so he leaves chasing after it, and so now he's outside, and his mom left to the store to try to see if she can find candy to celebrate the Halloween with. So now he's all alone, chasing after a cat in the streets infested with zombies, and he goes to a house, and there's just there's an old man there, and I'm not going to tell you who it is because he plays an important role later in this, but just know that he's not a good guy. He's very rude to him and everything, and this kid just gets attacked by some kind of like D-list villains in the Marvel Universe, like Squirrel Girl and people like that. It's just, there's no real showing of great heroes in this or great villains in this. It's just a couple people that I don't even really know. But you also find out later in this issue that that the kid, or the family, the mom and the little kid, their dad, they don't have a dad with them, and you find out that the dad is Colossus, and Colossus dies in Marvel Zombies from what I'm getting. I haven't read it before, but from what I'm getting, they talk about him that he's not around anymore, so guessing that he died. But anyways, they eventually are under attack by all these zombies, and then something pretty big dealing with the old man happens, and then they're saved, and there's just a really happy ending at the end of this. It's just great ending to this, a great story overall. Story by Fred Van Lente, and art by Alessandro Vitti. Yeah, it was just great stuff. It was a great story, and the art was great as well. So if I had to grade this, 4 out of 5. And then finally, the last issue for my pull week, the best run of comic books on Marvel, Daredevil by Mark Waid. This is issue 19, and this, oh my god, this issue is so good. There's so much going on in it. Just Daredevil, or it starts out with Foggy calling Matt while he's Daredevil, and Matt's listening to Foggy, and Foggy's just telling him, this is going to be the last time that I talk to you, so now just listen to me. And he's telling him that he needs help, that he's crazy, that he's delusional, and he's having hallucinations and all this kind of stuff. And Matt is just on the phone listening to him, and he's dodging bullets from all these kind of guys, and he jumps out of the window. And he's like flipping through the air, and he's listening to the cell phone. And Foggy's telling him that, let me see what he exactly says. He says, I worry that if you're out there as Daredevil, you're a danger to yourself and others. Oh, and it says that in your condition, you could easily stumble or fall or overlook something. And just as he says overlook something, and Daredevil is just flying through the air backwards, listening to the phone call, he reaches for his billy club, and he finds out that it's not in the pocket that he always keeps it in, and so he it's a funny thing. He's just falling to the ground of New York, and he just says, "Call you back," and he puts the phone away. And it's just so casual the way he handles this. And it's kind of weird how all this stuff happens, that you clearly see that he doesn't have his club with him, and he's thinking, I know I had it with me. I know I put it in the pocket that I always keep it in. And then all of a sudden, he reaches back in, and it's there. And then he hooks it onto a flag, and he kind of just, what happens is that he's about to crash into, like, a bus. And then all of a sudden, he's crashing through his apartment. So, this issue is just, for Matt Murdock, he's just jumping around place to place, just out of nowhere. Every second he goes somewhere, he's just jumping from another place to another place. And he's really confused about it. And as the reader, you get really confused about it too. So he starts to think that he is delusional, that Foggy is right. And so he goes to talk to Hank Pym. And through talking to Hank Pym, he gets a hunch about something, and he finally knows who's messing with him, who put the remains in his desk, who made him think that Mia was at his house, and or maybe that Mia was at his house, I don't know. And who's making him fly all over the place. And in the meantime, oh man, this issue, if you're a fan of Foggy Nelson, this issue you will not be. You will not be a fan of Foggy Nelson after reading this issue because of what he does to Matt, and what he does to Matt by telling what he knows to Kirsten. And so it's just not a friendly thing to do, and he's drunk when he does it too, so that just makes it more despicable. And in the meantime, Daredevil's on his hunch, and he's going out and he's doing what he was meant to do, and then through a lot of fighting and a lot of really cool stuff that happens, something really crazy then happens. I'm not going to give it away. And then you find out who's been messing with him. And if you've been a reader of this run by Mark Waid from the start, and I mean the very start, and this is a huge hint, then you'll know who it is. But they're going by a different name. I mean, it's this guy, but that's not what he looks like when you originally see him. So, and he goes by a different name, and it's just crazy stuff that happens for Matt. So that's the pick of the week for me, and it's a 5 out of 5. There's no better running story in Marvel right now than that. Mark Waid just has a great voice for Daredevil. This Daredevil, he's a different character than other Matts, or than other rendition of Matt Murdock's. But it just all works. And that's why it wins the Eisner Award, or won the Eisner Award. So, those are my picks of the week. Tell me how you like them. Like the video, comment, do whatever you want. Maybe some suggestions for anything that you guys want me to read. I know I don't really cover DC stuff much, so if you guys have any DC stuff that you want me to cover, I'll gladly try to check out an issue of whatever you deem fit, and please make it something good. I don't want to be bored like I was when I was reading Cyberforce, so please make it good. And thank you for watching my videos. This is Wellington signing off with the Comic Book Lowdown, and I'll see you guys next time.